All right, so today we're going to peel back the layers on something you probably use every single day, your Android phone. We're going to uncover the strict, hidden set of rules that secretly shapes your entire experience. I mean, really think about it. You can pick up a phone from Samsung or a Pixel from Google or maybe a OnePlus. They all look a little different, right? They've got their own styles, but they all run the same apps, and they all just, well, they feel like Android. But why? What is it that actually guarantees that? Well, it's not some kind of magic or just a friendly handshake deal between all these companies. Nope. The secret is actually a massive, and I mean massive, hidden rulebook that dictates pretty much everything an Android device has to be. Okay, so let's dive into what this thing actually is. That rulebook is officially called the Compatibility Definition Document, or CDD for short. And this thing? It's the blueprint that over 1,000 manufacturers have to follow to build the billions of Android devices that are out there. So here's the key takeaway, right? The whole reason the CDD exists is to guarantee consistency. It's basically a promise to app developers. It says, hey, if you build your app for Android, it's gonna work, period. It's what stops the whole ecosystem from just turning into absolute chaos. Okay, but to really get a grip on just how powerful this document is, you kind of have to learn its language. You see, the CDD is written in this super specific way that makes it crystal clear just how strict every single rule is. And really, it all boils down to two key phrases. When the CDD says a device must do something, that's it. It's an absolute non-negotiable command. End of story. Then you have strongly recommended. Now, that's more of a, let's say, a very, very strong suggestion. A manufacturer could ignore it, but honestly, they'd be playing with fire because it makes passing their final exams way, way harder. And what's kind of wild is how they keep track of all these rules. Every single one has this unique ID, something like 7.1.4.2/H-2. It looks super complicated, but it's really just a precise address. It points you to the exact rule for a specific device type, like H for handheld. Yeah, you can think of it like a Dewey Decimal System for the rules of Android. So we know every rule has an address. But, so what? What do these rules actually do in the real world? Let's take a look at just one rule and see how it affects something you probably do 100 times a day. Just scrolling. Check this out. This is a direct order straight from the CDD. Requirement 8.1/H02. It says a handheld device must, there's that word again, it must be able to scroll through a test list of 10,000 items in under 36 seconds. This isn't a friendly tip. It's a hard performance benchmark that's directly responsible for that buttery smooth scrolling feel you expect. So how in the world do phone makers actually hit these crazy specific targets? Well, they use some really powerful developer tools, like the Android Profiler. You can think of it like one of those diagnostic computers a mechanic plugs into your car. It lets them monitor every little detail, CPU load, memory usage, rendering speed, so they can fine-tune their device to make sure it meets the CDD's strict demands. But here's where it gets really cool. The CDD just sets the baseline, the minimum standard. The really exciting stuff happens when people innovate beyond the rules. For example, researchers found that even when you're just scrolling, Android was basically redrawing the entire screen 60 times every second. So this new project, called SCAR, found a way smarter approach. Instead of constantly redrawing, it just gets the content ready just off screen and then simply slides it into view. It's less like repainting a canvas over and over, and more like moving a film strip. And the impact? It's huge. By cutting out all that unnecessary work, the SCAR technique can reduce power consumption during scrolling by up to 30%. That is a massive improvement in your battery life, all from just rethinking a process that was already good enough to pass the CDD's test. All right, so let's keep going because this all builds on itself. Smooth performance is one piece of the puzzle, but the CDD also has incredibly strict rules about what you actually see on the screen, the graphics themselves. You see, the CDD mandates a common language for graphics. These are called APIs, and they're essentially universal translators. They allow any app to speak directly to the phone's graphics hardware, its GPU, to draw things on your screen. This is what ensures that a game or an app will look and run correctly, no matter what phone it's on. Now, built right on top of that common language is a tool called Skia. So if the APIs are the translators, you can think of Skia as the actual engine, the paintbrush, the artist's toolkit that Android uses to draw everything you see. From the text in your messages to the photos in your feed, Skia is doing the work behind the scenes. So you have this whole standardized stack, right? From the mandated translators all the way up to the Skia paintbrush. This creates an incredibly stable foundation. And that stability allows a whole ecosystem of developer tools to flourish. Tools like Skia for Delphi let programmers leverage this power to build beautiful apps that can run on Android, iOS, Windows, and more, all from a single codebase. Okay, so a manufacturer has followed the blueprint, they've built their device. How do they prove it? This brings us to the final and most critical step in the entire process. They have to pass the Compatibility Test Suite, or CTS. And look, if the CDD is the blueprint for the building, the CTS is the final top-to-bottom building inspection. We're talking about a massive suite of over 2 million automated tests that checks every single must requirement in the CDD. It is brutally thorough. The path is clear, and it's unforgiving. A manufacturer builds their device, they run the entire CTS, and if it passes every single one of those millions of tests, only then does it earn the right to be called an official compatible Android device. There are no shortcuts. So why? Why go through all this insane trouble? Why does this incredibly complex system of rules and tests even exist? Well, the impact is staggering. Just look at this number, $36.2 billion. That's what consumers spent on mobile apps in just 1/4 of this year. That entire global economy is only possible because the CDD provides a stable, predictable platform for developers. Without these rules, it would be a chaotic mess, and this market simply wouldn't exist on the scale. And that brings us to the future. You know, the CDD isn't static. It evolves with every new version of Android. As technology shifts towards powerful, on-device AI and new types of devices like foldables, you have to wonder, what new, non-negotiable rules are being written right now for the next generation of Android's hidden blueprint?